question from Yvonne. How do Chinese people see the relationship between man and nature?
So I think that there's sort of a traditional cultural values that is balanced between man and nature, and Confucius and Lao Tzu and all these great philosophers, and you certainly see this in rural villages where they understand they can't, like nomadic tribes in Inner Mongolia, or Western villages where they understand what agriculture is, what traditional agriculture is, and how they have to live off the land, etc. But the fact is that we've been through revolutions in agriculture, and using pesticides, and thankfully not GMOs. We have adopted a lot of practices like the infrastructure development that we've seen around the world, and landed them here in a way that exemplifies in like no other country in the world what the term Anthropocene era really means. If you know this term, Anthropocene era is about the effect of man on nature.
Yeah.
And every single time I visit a new city, I can't help but be overwhelmed by the fact that they have dropped on top of wetlands or desert or wherever it is, but nothing, farmlands, right? Literally a master plan of concrete and cement and steel and cars and subways and all this stuff, and it's just like it's man-made. It's not nature. And I get overwhelmed when I look at these cranes and construction nets and everything in process, like every few hundred feet. I get overwhelmed by that. We've lost that, traditional balance with man and nature, to now man is fully in control of nature. Nowhere else do you see that and feel that as viscerally as in China. Every single city has this room that has a grand movie that's like IMAX. So you're going in and you're seeing the vision of this city over the next 20 years, literally 20 years. And you see all these new buildings being master planned, and they've basically landscaped nature, right? Whether it's new lakes or building on top of wetlands, etc. And it's quite phenomenal, the number of cities that have this, and the scale that they're thinking at. And then you walk outside and you actually see it. And you say, wow. Right, some of these have been in process for the last 10 years, right, 20 years. But then you go and you see the Urban Planning Museum in Shanghai, and you see the vision for the next 20 years, and you see, they're going to have 9 major cities within the city.
Yeah.
So Shanghai now is no longer a city, it's really a megatropolis. It's not just a metropolis, it's a megatropolis. It's like my English term that I'm throwing out. It's like jiggy with it. It's going to get into the dictionary one day. But really, it's just scary, the scale of China.
Right. Yeah, because I heard that those hydro power plants, they're causing earthquakes now.
Well, large-scale hydro versus small-scale hydro is something that is very controversial.
Yeah. And
it's probably one of the things that epitomizes the Anthropocene era the most.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the other things that we're doing, water diversion projects from south to north, you'll see that east to west, etc. They're building these huge pipes, tunnels, that are going to essentially drain water from one area of China and moving it all the way to another area of China. And a lot of this is being used by agriculture, a lot of it's being used by coal-fired power plants, etc. So, it'd be a lot easier if we were just to be more sustainable and live off the land as is, and use the resources wisely in a way that is more locally smart, etc. Of course, right? And so that's part of the China dream. Yeah. But instead, China has the balls to imagine that they can re-landscape the entire China. That's essentially what they've done, right? And if you think about it, man has been doing that since the age of agriculture has begun.